Hi and welcome back to my channel for another art journaling tutorial. Today I'm working in a brand new journal. My 6x6 watercolor journal was full, and for this year I am starting a brand new one. I'm breaking the blank page with a pattern I'm creating with a stencil from Stencil Girl and distress ink. I just squished the ink pad to the stencil, spritzed it with water, and then stamped it to the background. I always like it when I have already something going on the page, and as this is a brand new journal, I don't have any pages where I've cleaned off my brushes or things like that, so I just thought I start with a stencil pattern. And then I will keep on working with watercolors. I'm working completely intuitively with the watercolors, and I will speed up the process a little bit. The journal that I'm using is from a German manufacturer. It's called Kunst und Papier, and I am buying this in my German online art supply store. I have no idea if these books are available internationally. I will check Amazon and link it up in my Amazon storefront if I can find it. As I'm working with a lot of water, the paper starts warping, and I just use a paper clip and clip the page to the others, and that helps to avoid that. I believe the paper weight of this journal is 230 GSM, and it's a watercolor paper with, I believe, 30% cotton. I can't tell you at the moment, and I have thrown away that sheet that's on the packaging. I have put a voting in the info box because I'm really curious to know which watercolor journals you are using, and if there are some you like more or not. I believe there are many out there. The only one I also have is the Strathmore watercolor journal, and I really love that paper inside, but I'm a little bit afraid to ruin it, so I do not use it very often. I also have the ARTEZA watercolor journal, and I prefer their textured sides in comparison to this journal, but I don't like their smooth sides so much because the watercolor doesn't have the same flow and looks also different in comparison to the textured sides. The red that I'm using here is a mixture. I'm using the Oxide Black from Van Gogh, and this is a very granulating color together with, I believe it's quinacridone red from Mijello Mission Gold, and I really love the result when you mix this black color into others, because then you get a shabby looking granulating color. I have to say sorry about my voice today, but I woke up with a cold. Here I'm going in with one of my favorite techniques. If you're watching my videos regularly, you know that I love scribbling into the wet background with a black watercolor pencil. Sometimes I also use a water-soluble graphite pencil, and I just make some scribbly marks here and there to get a grungy look and to add some interest to the background. To create a little bit more texture on the background, I'm sprinkling some water onto the page. When I have some puddles of water, I just use a damp brush and soak those up. And now I go on top with some salt in some areas. When you use salt on your watercolors, you have to make sure that the color is not too wet and also not too dry. This needs some experimenting, but you will soon know when your color is perfect. I let the page dry overnight and then get rid of the salt, and you get a really interesting texture on the background. I felt that I need some orange on my page. That's the reason why I'm going in with more color. In my description box there is almost every time linked up a blog post where you will find some close-up images of the art journal pages. And when you click on the little info icon in the top right corner of your video screen, you will find linked up art journal pages that are similar to this one. And here I'm using also a graphite pencil. It's a Grafictint from Derwent. That means that's a tinted graphite pencil. And I also scribble some marks into the wet and dry areas to make the page look even more interesting. This is a really messy looking page, and I really love to do that sometimes when I have not a real idea, or when I have just a color palette in mind that I want to try out. And it's a very relaxing process, just scribbling and adding color, and don't think too much. I dry everything with my heat tool, and here you can see the texture that the salt has created. I try to focus it with my camera, and here you can see that interesting texture. At this stage I had no idea what I want to create with this page, if I want a focal point or if not, so I decided to add some stamping with the rubber dance doodle borders. I'm using the Memento Due Drops inks for that because they work perfect on watercolor paper and they are available in so many different colors. And here I'm going through my box with all my finished focal points. Whenever I have something left over, I put it into the box, and when I'm not sure about an art journal page, I go through the stash and look what matches the page, and then I decide what to use. Here I decided to use the rubber dance sea turtle from the Textured Sea Creatures. I think it matches perfectly my page, and I just color it in quickly with watercolors. I'm using almost the same colors I've used also on the background. This makes the page look more cohesive. In addition to the turtle, I also stamped some of the sea stars and colored them in quickly, also with colors that are matching my page. After I've cut them out, I glue everything down to my page. To add more dimension, I'm adding a shadow under my sea stars. And I will also add a shadow of my turtle on the bottom of the page. And here you can see the finished page. I've added some words from the Rubber Dance Scrunchy Butterfly stamp set, and I just stamped it with third and second generation stamping to the page. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope we see us next time. Bye!